Hello and welcome to a tutorial on how to set up RunPod in Cubric Vision. You're going to have just these two boxes. So all of this is only unlocked once you place your RunPod API key. If you don't have an account, you can press this button, and first $10 that you top up, you'll get a $5 extra, and so will I, which will help me develop the app further. So if you don't know what RunPod is, you don't need to know much about it, to be honest. All you have to do is sign up, enter your details, go into billing, and make sure you enter $500. No, I'm kidding. Just choose other, and you can enter an amount like $10, set up a payment method, and you're set to go. You can start using it. Now, how to connect it to the app? Well, that's pretty straightforward. Go into settings, go into your API keys, and create an API key with read and write permissions. So if I just create an API key here with all permissions, I'll name my API key something, maybe Cubric Vision, press create. That's going to give me a key. A key like this one's. I'll just copy that key, go back into my application, paste the key here, press save, and all of this is going to be available to me. So automatically connect on app start. So every time you open Cubric Vision, you will connect to a pod. So be careful with this option here. Auto retry connection is if a card is not available, because not all cards are always available. You can turn these on and choose a card that's not available, and Cubric Vision is going to keep trying to connect until it gets it. Once it gets it, it gives you a notification that it found it and connects. Stage all models on connect. This means that all models will be staged to a fast drive as soon as you connect, so that you get faster model loading. If you don't have these on, each model will load as soon as you start the first generation on them. What follows depends on how you're going to use RunPod with the app. If you're a user that only is going to use RunPod once a week, then you probably want to choose any region volume. So what this is that it's a one-off. You connect, you spend a day doing generations, and that's it. You disconnect, done. No more paying. Well, there are advantages and disadvantages, of course, to this. The advantage is that it's a one-off. The disadvantage is that you're going to have to download the models that you want, and as you wait for the models to download, you're paying, okay? And you're locked to that one card. Another option that you have is you can select a volume and create a network volume. Right here, I have a network volume already created. So if I didn't, I could choose one and press create. So how to choose data centers so that you can create a volume there. And what is a volume? A volume is something that stays there. So when you install models, you can have, like, for example, 150 gigs, always with all the models always available to you. So this way, when you reconnect, you don't have to download the models again. That's the advantage. 150 gigs, it's more or less $10 a month. So that's not much. And you can always delete them when you want and create new volumes if you're done with them. To figure out a volume that you might want, you can come here and just press new network volume. As you can see, this is the volume that I have on the app. You can press new network volume, and you can come here to the cards and choose the card that you want to use the most. For example, I like RTX 4090. It does most of the stuff that I need. 5090 is a bit more expensive, also faster, but all the models in Cubric Vision, especially the ones in the balanced tier, work really well with the 4090. You don't need to pay more for a card. They even work with RTX 2000 ADA. It's just going to take a long time to generate. Same thing for L4s. So I can press one of these cards, say, I want this one. I see that the availability is high on these data center here, and I'll choose that one. And that's exactly what I did in the app. As you can see, that's the data center I'm connected to right now. Once you have a volume done, you can come here to the GPU and select your favorite GPU. In case you haven't installed models on your volume yet, you can choose no GPU, download only, as you can see. What this does is that you can connect to a CPU only pod and pay pennies. I mean, I'm not joking. 10 hours, I don't think it reaches $1. So you can connect to one of these. You see something saying creating a pod. You have this link here so that you can control and see what's happening. So if I press this, it shows me the pod. So it's creating a pod for me, a CPU pod, and you can see it's this much per hour. Of course, you can't do generations with this. This is a CPU pod, but you can download, and that's why we give you these options. So you can see if it's healthy, if it's not. You can see that it's downloading our Docker image. And here we go. Let's go back to the app. Now I'm connected. I can go into my models. And as you can see, I have a little bar here saying how much I'm using of the volume, which models I have installed in this volume, and which models I can install here. So let's say I am done installing models, and of course, to install models, you just select one and press install or uninstall. Pretty straightforward. It gives you the speed. This is very fast, by the way. It's really fast. I got the models on a private server, so installing them it's fast. But still, I would install them like this instead of paying for a GPU when I'm just installing models. So once I'm happy, I can choose a GPU that I like. Let's say RTX 4090. I do have an option to choose how many gigabytes of RAM, system RAM I want. So I could say 90, for example, if I'm doing video, and press connect. You also have this option to delete pod on quit. So this way, if I just close the app, it will delete the pod. If I close the app right now, after connecting to the pod, it's not going to delete the pod, it's going to terminate the pod. So either way, when you close the app, you're not going to pay any extra for that. Connecting to a GPU does take longer because the Docker image for the GPU is a lot bigger than the Docker image for the CPU. So it takes a bit longer. It can take up to 5 minutes to connect. Here we go. We are connected to a RTX 4090, ready to go. And it says here, RTX 4090, 24 gigabytes, 61 gigabytes of RAM. And you got your session. It tells you how much you spent already. So that's how much we spent right now in 1 minute. So now in generation, might as well show you this. Right now, I can start generating with the models that I have available on the cloud, which are only these 4 models at the moment. I didn't have that option on for loading all models. So if I press Q, it's gonna prepare the cloud engine for a faster generation. Basically, it's moving the model into a faster disk. In the meantime, I have this button here. So if I press this button, you can see that I've moved to local. So I can actually run a generation on my local drive, which I have a lot more models here. Let's say I'm gonna run Crea 2 with the same thing here. I'll queue a few here. Add an image, okay, do that. So I'll queue a few, and you can see that this is all local, and I can turn these off. And now I'm gonna queue a few that are not local, a few that are on the cloud. So now if I minimize this, I have my latents coming in, one in the cloud and one on my computer. So obviously it doesn't make sense what I'm doing right now. It would make a lot more sense if I'm doing video on the cloud and images on my computer. Okay, I think I covered all of it. Guys, I changed Patreon, so now the app is no longer gated through Patreon. Patreon just exists if you want to continuously fund this app. So go do that. Before I go, if you now press disconnect, you have these two options. So delete pod is just going to delete pod. And terminate, I'll show you how it happens. If I go here, you'll see that I still have a pod here that I can start. I've terminated it, I didn't clear it, so it's warm. So if I start connect again now, it's faster to start, but it doesn't guarantee anything. Anyone can steal my pod at this point. So might as well delete it. You can also delete it here. So if I choose to terminate here, this is the same as deleting in the app. Goodbye.